Hello there, my lovelies. This is Brady, and this week I have some pretty awesome stuff for you. Maybe some not so awesome stuff, too. Who knows? You guys can be the judge of that. And stuff. Yeah.
Reviews versus the world!
Alright, so this first thing that I want to get into is something that I have actually loved for a while. My wife and I got into it basically over the summer last year, I'd say. And ever since then, I've been hooked. It's such a fun premise for a TV show, and it is pulled off masterfully. And that is Zoey's Extraordinary Playlist. So, for those of you who don't know, Zoey's Extraordinary Playlist is a TV musical, which I don't know. TV musicals can be hit or miss for me. For example, I love the crap out of Crazy Ex-Girlfriend and Gallivant, but I hate Glee. And maybe that's just because I am not a fan of Ryan Murphy in general, but yeah, so TV musicals can be great, or they can be pretty awful. Now, luckily, Zoey's Extraordinary Playlist is great. So, the whole setup to Zoey's Extraordinary Playlist is Zoey feels worried that she has some mental issues going on, so she ends up actually going and getting an MRI, and something weird happens when she gets the MRI that makes it so that she hears what people are feeling or thinking on the inside by them breaking out into song. And of course, this immediately starts freaking her out, but then she gets used to it, and it's kind of like a superpower, and she uses it to help other people and to understand what exactly is it that they need. And that's where a lot of the show comes in. And it is pulled off very, very well. This is a show that I thoroughly enjoy, and every episode has a lot of fun. I will say, season 2 is a little bit weaker than season 1. You lost a few of the regulars. Lauren Graham, who was just outstanding in season 1, isn't here in season 2 very much. She's basically in there for a little bit for the first episode, and then she's gone. But that said, there's still some really strong stuff here, and there's some good emotional moments to this story. And well, the whole premise of there is a love triangle, and it goes into that a lot, and love triangles, once again, are something that can be hit or miss for me. Here, I think it works pretty well. Even though, once again, I find myself on the side of one guy that's Zoey's love interest I love, the other I hate. And that's just, how it tends to go with love triangles in general. But I enjoy this show. And if you are out there and you're thinking, I want a quirky dramedy that has music in it, then hey, give Zoey's Extraordinary Playlist a chance, because it's great. It's a lot of fun. Next thing I want to talk to you about is Barb and Star Go to Vista Del Mar. This show. Oh my gosh. This show is so funny. It is so hilarious. So if you're like me, you're someone who grew up, watching the great PG-13 comedies that you had back in the day. Of course, it started with things like Dumb and Dumber, and then you get stuff like Anchorman and Zoolander and that sort of stuff. If that sort of random, crazy humor works for you, but you've noticed that in the last few years, we haven't had anything on that caliber, watch Barb and Star Go to Vista Del Mar, because it is so funny. And a lot of the humor comes in. You could tell that Kristen Wiig and her co-star really did a lot of this banter that they have back and forth improvised, because that's really where you get so much value in this show, is just the things that they say to each other, the way that they talk to each other. is so good. And, you know, I've actually ended up watching the movie twice because you miss so much of that banter because you're busy laughing at the last thing that they said. And you watch it a second time and you catch a lot more. And it just is great. And one thing that I love is I love random humor. I love it when you don't know what is going to come out of a character's mouth. And that is 100% what you get here. Most of the jokes are not something that are that's telegraphed. It's just, it's there, it's sudden, it will hit you like a ton of bricks, and either you're into that, like I am, or you are very much not into that, like my wife was. So I will say that this show might be hit or miss, but I'll also say if you enjoy things like Zoolander and Anchorman, you're going to love this. It is so well performed, so funny, and you gotta watch it. Barb and Star are great. They're just great. Now, do you ever read a book and you get to the point where a character makes a decision that is so against that character and everything that you've learned about them up to that point, and against the world building that has been set up, that you just want to kind of throw the book out the window, go and take a nap, and be done with it? Yeah. Let me talk to you about Iron Gold. Now, to be fair, I am only on like part 2 of the book. I'm about a third of the way through it at this point, and I'm liking a lot of things that this book is doing. You know, it's always interesting when you have an author who starts a second trilogy and, has a time jump in that to get to that second trilogy, and seeing what they're going to do with it. What are they going to do with these characters? How are they going to do callbacks to the earlier books? And here, that part, I'd say that Pierce Brown gets great. Another thing that he does that was unexpected is the original Red Rising trilogy obviously was all from the point of view of one character, Darrow. And here he splits it into 4 different points of view. And a lot of the time when you have an author who is used to writing in one point of view, when they start splitting it up, then the books can feel disjointed, they can feel just off. The pacing gets off, you can tell that they don't know really how to transition smoothly from one character to another. Here, luckily, Pierce Brown actually does a pretty good job. What he doesn't do a good job with is building on to his existing main character of Darrow. Because Darrow makes a decision fairly early on in this book that is the most boneheaded, stupid, amazingly dumb thing that I have seen a character do in a book in a very, very long time. And don't get me wrong, Pierce Brown spends quite a bit of time trying to justify why it is that Darrow is doing this, and why it is that he's feeling the way that he's feeling. And you're supposed to feel for him, and you're supposed to understand what he's going through and why he's making the decision. But you can try to explain that all you want, but when the decision is that stupid, it doesn't make any sense. And had I not already spent 3 books getting invested in this series, as I talk about in that link and that link, then I'd be done. But because I am so invested in the series in general, I'm continuing on. This book is going to have to go a long way in proving that decision was anything good. There had better be some good payoffs, because right now, it's so irritating. Please, have some consistency in your characters. Have some consistency in your world. Don't make them do stupid things just to add drama. Please. And lastly, let's talk about what I am with games. Now, of course, I am still playing a whole lot of Monster Hunter Rise. And you can check out last week's video to see exactly why I love that as much as I do. And, you know, not much can turn me away from that. However, when you have Nintendo just out of nowhere announce a game that is free for their Nintendo Online subscribers, and then drop it the next day, yeah, I'm going to check it out. Especially if you're following up on the success of Tetris 99 and Mario 35, which were both great games that took classic games and classic formulas and then mixes it up by turning it into a battle royale. Yeah, I'm going to be interested. You know, I'll at least play it for a few rounds. And then when you throw Pac-Man into the mix, yeah, I love Pac-Man. I grew up playing Pac-Man all the time. I very, very much enjoy Pac-Man. And so Pac-Man 99 was released, and it is so much fun. So if you haven't ever played Tetris 99 or Mario 35, basically the setup here is you have a classic game, you know, in this case, Pac-Man. And you're taking that and you are playing Pac-Man. You know, you can be used to that. You know, you get the big pellets and you turn the ghosts into blue ghosts and then you eat the ghosts. You know, and you try to clear out all the dots. And yeah, you have that here. However, what you also have is as you eat the ghosts, you send to other players' screens these white Pac-Man that if the white Pac-Man get to their Pac-Man, then it will slow them down. And if there's anything that you don't want in Pac-Man, it's to be slowed down unexpectedly. Because then those ghosts are gonna get ya. They're gonna get ya good. And they do. Oh boy, howdy do they. And one of the things that I love most about this is I love when you have something that feels good in a game. And that feels classic. Like, say, Pac-Man eating a ghost. And then you find a way to multiply it. Make it feel even better. And they do that here. Because you can create a ghost train. So you'll have these little individual ghost icons that if you go through those pellets, then you add just a bunch of ghosts that will follow another ghost. So that when you get that power pellet, you eat that first ghost, and then you eat a good 20 more. And oh, it's satisfying. It feels so good. And especially as you know that you are sabotaging the crap out of other players. And you are irritating them and you are ruining their day. And it feels great. And now I haven't gotten Pac 1 yet, which is where you're the last man standing. But I've gotten close. I've gotten in that top 10. And just you watch out, Pac-Man 99. Because I'm coming for that number 1 spot. I will get it. I will. And that's it for this week. I hope that you enjoyed this episode. Maybe not quite as exciting as me gushing on and on and on about Monster Hunter Forever, but I hope that you found some good things because, man, there's some great stuff out there. There's great entertainment. And I'm going to keep on seeking it out so that I can let you guys know what I enjoy. And of course, if you enjoy things, you know, share the love. Bring it back to me. I want to know about it. I want to get into it because I'm selfish that way. Give me all your recommendations. Do it right now in the comments. No, stop. Stop what you're doing. Go down to those comments. Leave me a recommendation. I'm watching you. And then like, subscribe, you know, all that jazz.
Reviews versus